In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to get a clean black background for your toy photography. Hello and welcome back to another toy photography tutorial. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to get a clean black background with nothing more than your toy, a light source, and your camera. Clean black backgrounds are great, especially when you're doing portraits or if you want to make a dramatic shot with your toy photos. There's a couple things you're going to need though. You're going to be needing a light source, like I said, your toy, your camera, but also your tripod. Tripods are really important, especially when you're doing indoor photography, as it allows you to set your camera down and be able to do a lot of different stuff within your toy photography scenes without having to worry about pushing the shutter button or having to hold their camera or anything like that. For a light source, I'm going to be using my small rig Pix M160. It's an RGB light that I love using with most of my toy photos. If you guys like to see a review, I did a review about it earlier in another video, and I'll post it right up here so you guys can go check it out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go and show you guys my setup, show you guys the camera settings, and then we're going to go ahead and take a photo. So let's go. So here's the setup that I was explaining earlier on in the video. As you can see, I have my Stormtrooper figure just on a normal table, little fold-out table that I have. I have my small rig Pix M160 RGB light. This type of light is not necessary for this type of photo. You could use a desk lamp, a flashlight, any type of light source will do. You'll just need some sort of light. You do not need a background. If you want, you can have a black piece of construction paper back there, white, you could use a white wall. But pretty much you can have any background behind you because we're going to make it black anyway, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. But I just wanted to show you guys that you guys don't need that. You really only just need a way to stand your figure and one light source. But there are some things on the camera that are going to just be a little bit different that I'm going to go over. So we're going to pan out to the camera settings. Now, if you are going to be using, if your light source is a speed light, like a off-camera flash, there is one thing about your camera settings that you're going to need to do. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to keep my shutter speed at 1/250th of a second because that's the sync speed of most cameras with off-camera flashes. So what we're going to do is, here are my settings. So I like shooting my toys at f10. So I'm ready for right now. I'm going to set it to f10. The shutter speed right now is the way it is because I'm composing the figure with the light. So I always like to, and when I'm indoors and I'm not doing any action or anything like that, and where I don't need my shutter speed to be really high, I go ahead and I always set mine to ISO 100. So these are the two settings that are going to stay kind of constant for this type of photo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off this overhead light and just like close the blinds a little bit just to dampen out a little bit of the light because like I said, I'm going to be doing it at 2/50th of a second or 1/250th of a second for those people with off-camera flashes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go over the rest of the settings. Okay, so now you can see that I dampened some of the light out just to make this technique a little bit easier. So if you're not using an off-camera flash, the best thing for you to do is, since I have my f-stop at f10, yours could be f8, it could be whatever aperture you want, as well as your ISO. I just like to keep mine at 100 just when I do a lot of indoor portrait stuff with my toys. So what we're going to do is, to make the background completely black and not even have to worry about it, since I know I'm not going to be changing the aperture or the ISO, all I got to do is change the shutter to make the background black. So we're just going to go ahead and speed it up. And as you can see that it's changing to where it'd be completely black. So like I said before, I'm going to make mine 1/250th of a second, or even maybe 1/200th of a second. And as you can see, now my whole screen is black, which now made the background black. So now from here, what we're going to do is, any of your light source that you have, you're going to go ahead and turn it on. And from here is when you're going to take your photo. So you can position your light any way that you want, and it's going to keep your background black, but also light up your figure. So from here, you can go ahead and just change the way you're looking at it. You go over the top, from the side, underneath, get whatever type of look that you want. And you don't have to worry about that background being shown in the picture. So from here, I'm going to show you guys my final results that I got with using this technique. And then I'm just going to go over some last little bit of tips and show you guys the photo. So let's go. And here's the final photo after editing it in Lightroom and Photoshop. As you can see, this is a great technique to use to get really dramatic portraits with your toy photos. And also what's great about it is it's not just for toy photography. You can use this with portraits of people or other products, and you can apply these same techniques to get photos of those as well. Some tips, some last minute tips about this technique is to kind of evolve from it. If you say you're just using a flashlight or you're using a simple light source, you could upgrade to an RGB light, something similar that I have. Or you can also, I didn't show it because a lot of this stuff isn't really necessary. Like I used a remote shutter instead of pushing on my camera shutter button from the tripod. If you get a remote shutter, you can just go ahead and do it remotely. But you don't necessarily need that. You can just use the timer on your camera, and that works fine. Another thing you can do is if you get an RGB light, you can change up the lighting, and it's still the same thing. You can make it red, blue, things like that. Also, you can introduce other types of light sources, so you can do it with one light or two lights, and it still works the same way. The only thing is you might need to do what's called a flag and use it's basically like a little card that you put by the light source. It helps block the light from spilling over into the background so your background doesn't accidentally show. I've had that happen to me a couple of times in some of my photos, so I had to use what's called a flag to block that light. But that's it. It's really simple, easy to do, and it's a great way to get some great results in your toy photography. If you guys like today's video, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe for more toy photography tutorials if you guys found these videos helpful. Also, if you guys had some other techniques that you used that gave you clean black backgrounds or was able to cancel out the background, go ahead and leave a comment down below and share it with the rest of the community. Also, all the gear that I used in today's video will be linked down in the description below, so you guys can go check all that out. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram or go check out my website and view some of my other work, those will also be linked down in the description as well. I'm Brent England with Brent England Photography. Thanks for watching, keep taking photos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.